Good evening, this is Pine Leaf Needles and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. Tonight I have with me Andang,
Hey everybody.
Ethelros,
Hello.
Brax,
Hello, everybody.
and the ever mysterious Mystery.
Hey there. You know, every week Ethel Ross amazes me with his enthusiasm.
Well, I try my best.
Well, consider what time it is in Wales right now.
1:31, but then Mist manages more enthusiasm than I do.
Yeah, that was my sarcasm, in case, you didn't quite get it.
I guess I don't understand Australian.
Yes, well, I guess Americans are halfway between Australians and Welsh, so therefore...
That's some strange maths you got going on there.
Strange man.
The problem is, though, you guys are a day behind me, so that doesn't exactly add up either.
All right. We'll head on to the news here at LOTRO. We'll begin with the Trait Tree Developer Diary, where they discussed the reasoning behind the proposed changes for the trait trees.
And nothing else.
Well, you can imagine that they're in beta right now and everything there is subject to change. And in fact, Sapiens posted a message either just before or just after the dev diary saying that things are in flux and that there have been a number of things that have changed based on feedback, and that the one thing that is definitely not changing is they are not getting rid of the trees.
Well, the thing is, you think we're in beta now, at least good way into beta probably, and they announced the trait trees a long time back. You think they would have released this dev diary then, not partway into actually making the map.
All right, since the fact that there aren't any, they're not actually describing what the changes are, just describing the reason, I guess I could agree with that. That would have been logical to do a couple of months ago.
Yeah, that's
would you
logic.
like to? Hey, Shurs, would you like to have seen something else in this dev diary?
Well, something more than what they gave us, really. At least a kind of brief overview of how the trait trees will work, even if they don't have to go into specifics. The basic structure, maybe. How you will acquire points, because they haven't really explained how you'll get them from deeds and such, aside from being vague.
So a couple things struck me about this. I did the write-up for it on LOTRO Players. I was happy to see one thing, and that was that Turbine actually came out and said, look, we know this is a big change, and there's going to be some real getting used to it by the player base. And they haven't really straight come out and said that before. I think they, when they first announced that there was going to be trait trees, there was a lot of, I think, speculation and people, well, jumping to the correct conclusion probably that there was going to be huge changes to the class, but nobody ever really confirmed that. They just kind of threw it out there, and then we started getting these class dev diaries that just kind of said, well, they implied that there really wasn't much going on, right? They gave you the 3 lines, and they sounded very similar to the lines that we had today, and so just actually see them come out and say, look, we know it's going to be a big change, and we know people are going to have to get used to it, but we're really just doing this for the future of the game. I thought it was good, maybe a little late, but I thought it was good to see that, and I tried to hammer that point home in the article, in the summarization that I wrote up too, because I'm not sure that there's a lot of players out there that understand how big of a deal this is really going to be when the expansion drops.
I think the first time I really grasped how big these were going to be is when they mentioned roughly how many skills you would end up with. I think they said roughly 20, and that was a big shock, because usually I have about 40 at level cap. Losing half your skills is going to be a major deal.
Yeah, but it's only the number that are available to you at any given time. You still
Yes.
have the other skills and other lines. At least that's what it sounds like.
That was, yeah, I mean, still, it was the first eye opener for me on how big these were going to be.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be huge changes, and even still, Turbine really hasn't told people. I don't think that they're going to be big. I mean, they did mention it here a little bit, but they haven't. Not that many people still read the dev diaries and go through all that. They need to
Right.
be more
Right.
vocal with it in other places. But they still have some time to get the word out about it. But assuming that these changes are as big as they seem to be, we could, you know, ever since they've brought these up, I've been saying that this could make or break the way that LOTRO gameplay works, and I still believe that it could make or break the game, and they haven't done a good job of communicating stuff, and so that makes me kind of worried about it, really.
So as far as the reasons they gave for going to the skill trees and changing the classes, did you guys buy those, or what did you think of what Turbine put in the dev diary?
I'm actually looking at it now because I need to refresh my memory.
Well, there was off the top of my head, there was two ways that they thought the classes could kind of merge into not being very differentiated, and one of them was because they all continued to get skills that were, more or less just. Yeah, I guess what they said was if we keep giving you more and better skills, then all the classes are eventually going to kind of converge, because we're going to start giving healing skills to DPS classes and more DPS skills to crowd control classes, and eventually they're all going to kind of merge to be able to do everything. And that's not really
They
what we
basically
want.
said that they were running out of ideas for new skills, which
Right.
was very, very evident with the last two expansions. It's, ever since Moria, they really haven't done any, there's not really any more character progression beyond that point. And so I think that these skills are good in that, or these changes are good in that aspect, because we have to have progression beyond level 60. It has to happen. You can't have the end of your character development at that stage, and that really is part of the reason why I think I've lost a lot of interest in my main champion, is because of the fact that he basically has been exactly the same ever since Moria as far as that character development goes. Now they have had, class changes with Isengard and stuff like that, but even still, it's basically been the same class since Moria, and that's something that needs to change. It's about time that they look at it and change it. And also, going down to these 20 skills hopefully means that they'll be increasing the amount later on, and so it gives them a nice base to build on, I think.
We will have to see. And
Another.
I'm
I've just
sure-
been. Sorry.
I'm sure that we'll be discussing this quite in full when we review the expansion in a couple of months.
Yep, we will, in probably near the end of, probably right before Christmas is when we'll review it.
So I just wanted to make one more point to address kind of the reasons that they gave, because I can kind of relate. Anytime you have a system, any kind of system that's been around for a long time and has been added onto over the years, it becomes more and more difficult to do new and interesting things with that system, because it was built to do one thing, and as you add additional complexity to it, every time you try and do something new with it, you have to consider the ripple effects to everything that's been added onto it over the years and the core of what that system was. So we're really looking at the same thing here. I mean, people who've been doing mainframe programming have seen this for a long time. People have added stuff onto those systems for 30 years, and sometimes you can't even unravel them, and the best thing to do is just start from scratch with a brand new system, so that you've got a lot of freedom to do what you really want to do. And I think that's what Turbine is saying in this dev diary, and I don't know if everybody really has been through that, but that's definitely a way you can paint yourself into a corner with systems that have been kind of added and bolted onto over time.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, can definitely agree with that. I think we
Uh,
kind of discussed this a couple of times before as well.
Real
That
quick, sorry for interrupting you, Shares, but I thought Pine Leaf was going to move on. So we had a double interrupt of Shares. But now I totally forgot what I was going to say.
so that means we should move on then. And
Go ahead.
we had a community update by Sapiens where he was the infamous bearded elf.
I'm not going to
Yay.
say anything.
Yeah. And he said that he was planning on 2 dev diaries, but I only saw the trait tree ones. Did we have the regional dev diary?
I don't think so.
We had that video, but I'm not sure if that counts. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
that video
video
was
wasn't
before,
last
last-
week, wasn't it?
but I'm not sure if they actually made the video before they released the dev diary, because I think they had something like that before where they make the video and then they might end up releasing it before they release the video.
It's possible, yeah. But we might also see something else about regions. I don't know.
Yes. And he says that the Harvest Mass Festival should be later this month, which should be no huge surprise since it has to straddle Halloween for the Harvest Mass
This
Festival.
is still the only festival that hasn't been made to the whole daily thing, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, because it's the only one I actually still like.
What the? Well, it's always had dailies for that particular one.
Most of the quest cooldowns were, 30 minutes, weren't they?
Not for the Haunted Burrow.
Hmm.
The Haunted Burrow has always been dailies.
So, sorry to interrupt, but should we describe for those who maybe haven't been around LOTRO for a full year why the elf costume was a thing?
No,
Does
well,
anybody
Probably.
remember why?
Why don't you go ahead with that, Brax?
Yeah. So every year Sapiens does a extra life drive, and he raises money for this charity. And one of the milestones that he had last year, he offered up that he would do a dev diary dressed as Legolas. And this was a year ago, so this is him making good on that promise from last year.
I love the quiver. The quiver was the perfect touch to the whole thing.
And just for the record, just today, actually, I think they passed their $10,000 goal.
Yeah, big hats off to Sapiens.
All right. And we'll get to our goals a little bit later. Now, there will be a patch on Monday for 11.5, which I can only say must be the Pine Leaf patch. And the reason why I'm calling it that is that there are a total of 3 things in this particular patch. The first one is to reduce the loading time if you have a large amount of skirmish statistics.
Try to reduce the
They're
time.
trying to do it. We will have to see when we log in on Monday evening whether or not this is true. But the idea is they think that they were spending too much time gathering skirmish statistics, so if you've run a large number of skirmishes, you're being slowing down, and so they hope that this will reduce the loading time for those who've done huge numbers of skirmishes, such as Pine Leaf. The second one was to fix an issue where objects and textures were not being rendered properly. In other words, invisible things, but I've been running into this all sorts of times this last week, and in fact, during Fellowship for the Creeps this week, I was in a room and the floor was completely invisible. I was wondering, where did everybody go? And I didn't realize they went to this room which had no floor. And that's where the battle was being done at.
Yeah, I had some of that issues during the recording too. Like this tree that I would run past, it was invisible. I would turn back to look at it again, and it was there, and then I'd look back and it's gone again.
Yes.
It's just
shimmering tree. And the third one is that the Steed of Mickle Delving War Steed appearances can now be dyed, and since I have one of those on one of my characters, on my main in fact, that means that if I wanted to dye it to some suitable color, I can do it now.
to be honest, I think this patch deserved another decimal.
Yeah,
So
I
it
was
should have
getting
been
ready to say that.
11.4.1.
Yeah, I was getting ready
Yeah.
to say it's not that big of a patch. And finally, if you gotta hold out for your patch title, when they release like a patch with 80 skirmishes, that is the Pine Leaf update.
Okay, okay. Well, actually, there's only one reason why it's 11.5 instead of 11.41. And that is because they don't have any other things that they're planning to do this month. And they had to have an 11.5 because they had to have a tenth decimal every single, something in one of those two columns every single month. So therefore, they had to have an 11.5 at some point. And this, now I suspect, though, that we do have the Harvest Math Festival stuff in here also. It's just
Yeah.
that it's not in the patch notes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. There's a good chance that that's the case. But
It
still,
might
the
also
notes that
be.
have been released are not that much, which is why they probably released them before the downtime.
I also think it's likely that they're preloading more Helm's Deep stuff.
Yeah,
Well, maybe that also.
they usually do that, you know, a long time in advance. I'm guessing probably back with 11.0 they've been uploading Moria or Rohan stuff.
Yes, most likely the stuff that's least likely going to change, such as art assets and stuff like that.
Yep.
Now, for store sales. This week, our free sample is Max Morale and Power Scrolls Yippity Doo Dah.
Yippity yay!
Yes, and the number is MXP59 is the code in order to get your wonderful Max Morale and Power Scrolls, which I'm sure you've already got a ton of them like I do.
Hobbit presents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see me rushing to log on, can't you?
Yes. I have no trouble remembering to do the ones that are useful. That one I'm definitely not going to remember. We
No.
also have 25% off of stat tomes. I guess some people find that useful. The Dusky Nimblefoot Goat, which is why bother?
If you like the look
And
of it, really, that's
Don't
about
we
it.
get a free goat with Moria now? So isn't this even less needed than before?
Oh,
The-
yeah, but if you use that free goat, my goodness, you could walk faster.
Yeah, it's pretty
Well,
cool.
that's
is-
not quite literally true, but if you have the journeyman trait, then it will go the speed of the journeyman trait rather than at that super slow speed.
That's true, yeah.
But yes, the Dusky Nimblefoot Goat has the advantage in that it is a regular speed mount. It's just that if a goblin sneezes near it, you'll be dismounted. Finally, the third item is an additional legacy slot. Whoop-de-doo-doo.
Yeah.
I've got two of these now from the pre-orders from the last two expansions.
Yeah, I've got a
Well,
bunch of those too.
I've
Who's
already made my
special
case.
Well, the thing that I learned about this, and maybe everybody already knew this, but they don't give you any additional points to spend in the slot. They just give you the slot. So you got to divvy up your points amongst even more legacies, and I don't know, it helps a little.
I've already made my case about allies. I'm not going to go into it again.
Yes, all right. Yeah, I don't think we've got time for that at the moment. Right. Now, we had a poll last week, which apparently Ending was surprised with the results of the poll, where Lily Kate asked, which is your preferred quest pack? And this is of the 4 expansion quest packs, Moria, Rohan, Isengard, and Mirkwood. And Ending, what were you expecting to be the results?
Well, I mean, I didn't expect Moria to be the top one. Any of those other zones, usually fans are more interested in. But for some reason, Moria was at the top, which really surprised me.
You know why though? Because you get the 2 extra character slots, and you get the Runekeeper, and you get the Warden. You get more with Moria.
These said
you get
the
the-
quest pack.
These are
not
just
the
the quest
expansion.
packs.
Ah,
But
Which is
you do.
why it's so surprising, because
But-
it's
well then
just the quests.
but people might have thought expansions too.
But if you buy the Moria quest pack, you do get all the instances and stuff with it.
That's true. That is true.
All right, we'll give you
But
that.
you also get like skirmishes with Mirkwood, and I don't know if you get anything with Isengard, but
No, you don't get any skirmishes with Mirkwood
You get
because
3 instances for Mirkwood, and that's about it.
right
okay. Well, you
because
get
the
instances is what I meant.
right because the skirmishes are part of the
Yep.
epic.
Yeah, Isengard and Rohan don't give you anything.
Yes. Now this week's poll is: have you pre-ordered Helm's Deep? And the
No.
yeah, and the quick things are yes, bought the premium, yes, basic. I am going to buy the premium. I am going to buy the basic. I am saving up turbine points to get them on the 18th, and I'm not buying the expansion. Those are the 6 choices.
I voted.
I voted.
I voted. I already know what my
Alright.
answer is.
And we'll see.
Brax, did you
Yeah.
vote?
I did not vote yet, but I voted with my money.
Oh, so
I
you've
voted with
already
my money.
bought it.
Yeah.
All right. Then we'll head on to LOTRO Players News, and of course we'll start with the Fellowship Walk, which tends to take up quite a bit. Donations are of course open. In fact, we are currently, if it hasn't changed recently, at $3,050, which is 60% of the way through our goal of $5,000. Actually, 61%.
61. Yes.
Yes. That brought us quite a bit of the way. And we have 83 contributors, and this ends on October 24th. So you still have time to contribute. 12 more days.
That's right. And kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but a big thanks to everyone who has helped us get $1,200 in just today. Thank you guys so much for helping us raise those funds today. It's just been amazing that we can raise that kind of money in a single day for children that are sick in hospitals. So thank you guys so much. We still have a tough time. We still have to earn 2,000 more in 12 days, but I think we can do it. And so thank you guys so much for helping us so far, and be
Yeah.
sure to join us this Saturday at 2 p.m.
Patrolling with the trolls.
Yes, trolling with the trolls for next week.
Yeah,
Now,
come
because we
on.
reached the 3,000 mark, that means we will be giving away a Mithril edition, which includes an exclusive Steed of the Horse Lord's mount. La 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 la.
Yep, and all you have to do is just leave a comment on that post. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to leave a comment and make sure you have a valid email address so that when I email you, you can respond, and then I'll send you the code because I don't want to send it to someone who's it's just going to sit in their mailbox and never be seen.
Yes, and if we can get to 3,500 before next Saturday, then someone is going to get a Riders of Rohan Heroic Edition.
That's right, and that is a very, very cool little item there. So definitely want to try to help us get to the 3,500 goal
Right.
before next week so that we can get that. That would be awesome.
And if we get to 6,000 before next week, a Helm's Deep Premium Edition.
That's right, Pine Leaf. So start donating, Pine Leaf.
We'll accept your 3,000.
We will continue on.
Really? You're not responding to that?
The Lonely Mountain Band has their charity album. I would like to
Yes,
discuss that.
John from the Middle Earth Network. He's the founder of Middle Earth Network. He's also one of the founders of the Lonely Mountain Band, and definitely a big thanks to him for putting together the real-life Lonely Mountain Band. They had 11 songs that they put together for a special charity album, and 3 of these songs have actually never been digitally released before. They've only been in CD form. So a big, big thanks to him for putting together this pack, and it's already gotten well over $50 because he's basically what happens is if you buy this pack, which it's only $5 for 11 really, really high quality songs, then basically once it gets to a certain amount, he adds it to all the funds go to LOTRO players, and he'll add once he gets them, he'll add them in to the donation widget. So that's a really great way to get music back for only $5. You get 11 songs, and you get to help the walk. So it's definitely a great deal. And apparently he's already had several people already getting to buy those. So definitely a cool thing. And just go to the show notes for a link to that.
And of course, we have auctions. Miss, do you like to handle that?
Really? Auctions? Yeah, that's where you bid money. Oh, hang on. No! Sorry, Rolf just got online. I just have to tell him that we're recording. So, can someone start while I do that? Sorry.
Yes,
Very well.
there is the One Ring from Weta, and it is currently still at $208, I believe. Yep. And so make sure to bid on that if you're interested. It's definitely a very low cost for
world
ruling the
domination.
entire universe.
Yes.
So definitely a good deal if you want to be a Dark Supreme Overlord. And there's also the One Bagshot Row auction, which is currently going for $45. Another item from Weta. Big thanks to Magnus for those two remaining auctions that are going on. There's also, of course, something that Pineleaf knows a little about.
Something about what? Skirmishes?
Skirmishing.
Yeah,
And yourself.
you know about skirmishes, and if you want to tap
You know
into
Pineleaf.
Pineleaf's knowledge, then you can go skirmishing with Pineleaf on any server, and currently that's only $13, which is about 100 less than what it needs to be, because Pineleaf is just amazing at skirmishes. Every time I skirmish with him, I learn something new, and I recommend that you guys definitely look into that if you're interested in learning a little bit more about skirmishes.
We
Yes.
also have individual server ones for Winfola, Arkenstone, and Laurelin.
I
And if you're-
was just about to say that. So,
Therefore,
big people.
So you're back with us, Mist? We're recording a
Yeah, I
podcast.
told Rolf he had to wait.
he had to wait before he killed you.
Well, he just got on Skype, and we haven't actually spoken on Skype for quite some time, actually. So he was all keen to catch up and say hi, and he rang, and I had to decline, and then he got up me and said, "Pick up, stupid," and I said, "No, I'm doing the LOTRO player news." Oh, yeah, how's that?
All right. And speaking of the LOTRO Players News, there's also a guest host on LOTRO Players News as one of the auctions.
That's right, Pineleaf, and for only $20 you can be on this show with the crazy antics and awesomeness that goes on with LOTRO Players News every single week, and you can get on for one episode by going over to LOTROplayers.com and bidding on our show notes. And a reminder that all proceeds of all the auctions go to Child's Play, 100%.
Right.
Yes.
And that is, I'm sure there's someone out there who, well, other than Roger Edwards, who really wants to. Yes, that's going for $20 right now.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of good auctions up there. I mean, if you're into car racing games, Green Man Gaming has given us Grid 2 to auction off, and that's up there until October 19th. The date on there needs to be changed because the 23rd's a bit late to be finishing. So it'll finish on October 19th. And if you want Grid 2, yeah, make sure you bid on it. So I hear it's a good game. I'm not into car racing much unless it's Mario Kart. So, yeah.
I'm more of a Crash Team Racing guy.
And if you want something more sophisticated than LOTRO Players News, there is Riddles in the Dark with the Token Professor.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
Riddles in the Dark is
Didn't I?
actually a pretty funny show, not necessarily a scholar show. So if you would like to get on Riddles in the Dark or Tolkien Chat, that auction is currently going on at LOTROplayers.com. And it is an amazing, amazing opportunity. I've actually met in person with Corey. I've had him on a few shows, and he is a fantastic guy to hang out with, and definitely very easy to have a conversation with him. Just because he's a Tolkien professor does not mean that he's going to try to outshine you in knowledge. If anything, you'll learn a lot while still looking good, because he's just that good of a podcaster. And I highly, highly recommend to get on either of those shows. Those are two of some of my favorite podcasts, and definitely one of my favorite podcasters. So definitely look into that. It's well worth whatever the price ends up being, because it is a fantastic, fantastic show. And they've actually never, to my knowledge, had guest hosts on Riddles in the Dark. And so this is a one-time thing that's never happened before. So definitely worth looking into.
And if you are into lore, you can also try Beneath Your Feet, which will come back for an episode, just so that we can have you, whoever the winning bidder is, on the show.
That's right, and right now I'm winning this, guys. I need someone to bid against. Please come, bid. Bid on Beneath Your Feet. It's a fantastic show. Shipwreck deserves to get a little bit more notoriety than just me bidding on his show. That's kind of depressing to him. So you guys have to help. You guys have to go bid. Go to Beneath Your Feet now. What are you doing still listening to this show? Go bid. What are you
Wait,
doing, guys?
Listen to this show and then go bid. And why is it so depressing that you bid on Beneath Your Feet?
It's just depressing that I don't have anybody to go against.
Oh,
But as soon as someone goes up against you, you're not going to rebid anyway, are you?
Yeah, I am.
You're just going to moan that someone bid against you.
No. You're on a college student's budget right now.
Yeah, I can afford Beneath Your Feet, though. This is gonna happen.
All right.
It's worth it.
Finally,
it is worth it.
there is actually not finally. There is also a chance to guest host on LOTRO Reporter.
This is also worth it.
This is also well worth it, but definitely a little bit out of my budget line, though. For only $102.50, you can be a guest host on LOTRO Reporter. And this has had a little bit of bidding war in the past, and I'm just amazed that it's gone to this much. So thank you, Chris and Carrie and Leonore over at LOTRO Reporter, for donating this auction and really promoting it and helping promote the walk. And also thanks to Chris for the other 4 LOTRO Reporter or LOTRO MMO Reporter auctions that he donated as well. And I definitely recommend everybody look into those if you're a fan of other MMOs.
And I must tell everyone that if you like black dye, we're actually putting up a black dye auction this week, and it's for 20 black dyes that have been donated by Aldecum from the Lonely Mountain Band. So yeah, that should be good, because black dye is so hard to get.
Are you going to read those out too, Andang?
No, I'm not.
No. Very well. We also have a possibility of being a guest on Lily Kate's Creatures, which is currently going for $10.
Is it?
Yeah. Married.
Blue Bonnet.
Yeah, Blue Bonnet Mary Do.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Must have been something else I saw that closed. Who knows? Who can keep up? Not me.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I saw that close this morning with no bids.
Well,
Maybe I
there
haven't
was
slept
a
enough.
bid. Well, there was a bid today. So there.
So there, yeah. I must have misread it. I mean, it was 3:30 a.m. this morning, so give me a
Right.
break.
And if you prefer to go with the cuter set, you could have a Lizzie Rose Buggins emote session. So therefore, this is with Lizzie Rose, who is Lizzie Kate's daughter.
Lizzie Kate, yes.
Lil-
Who's that?
Lily Kate's daughter, Lizzie
Oh,
Rose.
right, Lillicate. Okay.
There we go.
So it's going for $7 right now. So definitely a great offer. You won't be disappointed by this. You'll have a ton of fun. I promise you that.
And if you're
Just,
into...
just don't be bad at PvP, or she will tell you so.
Yes, that's right.
Pineleaf knows much about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yes, very brutal, yes. It's well known, though, that I am the worst PvMPer.
No, there's got to be someone worse, Pineleaf.
Yeah.
Oh, there is.
That would be hard for us to find them, though. And next, Winnie Acres Steed Unlock Auction. This is your opportunity to unlock all of the steeds that are associated with factions that can be transferred, so to speak. In other words, anything that involves some sort of item in it. Therefore, you will get 85,000 reputation points. Things for the Men of Bree, the Matham Society, Thorns Hall, the Elves of Rivendell, the Lost of the Forakel, the Warrens of Enuminus, the Rangers of Estelden, the Council of the North, and the Iron Garrison Miners. And of course, you will get 55 gold so that you can actually purchase the mounts afterwards.
You forgot to talk about
forgot
the
Forgot the
maps.
miners. There's the miners.
I did say the miners. I did say the miners.
You didn't say the maps. You have to name all those locations too.
Oh, I'm not going to name all the locations of the maps. That's just so you can pick up the horses afterwards.
Oh, I would have liked to see you pronounce them.
All right. So you want to see how well I can... Right. Okay, let's try it. The 21st Hall in Moria. Surikila in Forakel. Tinandir in Ivendem. And Estelden in the North Downs. And Ostguruth in the Lonelands. I'm sure I had that well, nice, and prettily botched.
Sounds good to me.
Hmm.
Then why are they snickering?
Maybe I don't know any better.
So
Because
also,
they're eating Snicker bars?
maybe. Also
Nah.
happening this week is the contest closing. So everyone currently listening to this show live, you have like what, 4 hours, 3 hours left, something extremely small.
Probably it depends. If it's midnight server time, then it's 3 hours.
Yeah, so only like 3 hours left, and if you're listening to this later, then well, they've probably already closed. So yeah, the contest closed. Did we get a lot of entries missed?
We did get a few entries. We got quite a few for the cosmetics. I do believe we got 1 or 2 for the screenshots. I do also know that this week we received an entry for the video competition, and I believe there's a couple for the poetry as well. So, yeah, we got a few. So, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. We need a few more, though, in order to have some nice competition in there.
That's
I remember
right.
back on CSTN we had quite a number of people entering the poetry contests.
Yep. And also a big thanks to Golden Star, since it's probably the last time that we'll be able to mention the contest on the show. A big thanks to her for being the judge on the cosmetics competitions. So thank you so much
Yay,
for
Golden
doing that.
Star.
Yeah,
All right.
fantastic.
And congrats on her win on the auction.
Yeah.
Damn her. She took my picture.
All right.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Now, how many titles? Do we still have some titles left to give out?
Yes, there are still plenty of titles to give out because not enough people have been applying for them. We need to help get out the word out. I think last time I talked with Lillicate, she said only about 300 of the 1,000 titles that we've been given have been given out, and all you have to do is send an email following the directions on the titles page, which will be in the show notes. And it's just a very simple email saying something about what happened during the walk. Or you can also leave a comment on a donation, and she'll send you that as well if you donate to Child's Play.
Right. We had an article, of course, to recap on our third leg of it, but of course today we'll I'd rather recap on the fourth leg that we just finished today, where we have gone from our modest start at the Prancing Pony first to the Midgewater Swamp, then from there to the peak of Amansul. Following that, we went to that swamp in the Lonelands whose name I could never properly pronounce. And
Arlog.
Arlog, yes.
Floig.
And then finally from there, because we reached the $3,000 mark, we continued on to the Trolls in the Troll Shawl, where Bilbo had some fun talking to trolls before they got turned into stone.
That's right, and next week we will be having fun partying at the Defeated Trolls. So if you want to join us, you can log on to Landerville server at 2 p.m. At the Trolls, and we on Saturday, the 19th, and we will have a party there. So be sure to join us, and hopefully we'll be able to continue walking after that.
And our party, it is confirmed A Rock and a Hard Place will play. And we are having trivia, so it will be worth coming to.
Awesome.
Now, beneath your feet, despite the fact that they aren't producing podcasts anymore, we do have from Shipwreck an article on Helm's Deep, and this is the various lore behind the Helm's Deep and what everything looks like. So there's some nice maps of the Hornburg here.
Yeah, one thing Ship always does a great job is getting all the different images from these various places that he finds. He always has amazing artwork, great maps, and just does a great job writing articles in general. And he does so much research that he has a fantastic knowledge of the lore. And definitely worth a read if you want to know anything about the lore of Helm's Deep. Go here, it's a great place. He did a lot of research to put together, and it's definitely worth reading through to find out all the various information about it.
Yes, and he has there a couple of maps there to what things probably look like, although different people's versions of it.
I don't see any glaciers anywhere.
Heard that, Turbine? You messed up.
Didn't say
Well,
that. Just saying that I don't see any glaciers anywhere.
Well, that's because the glaciers melted several thousand years ago.
Well,
The glaciers cut out Helm's Deep. The glaciers didn't stay there once the big melt came.
Right. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying that there's may or may not have been a glacier there.
Well, whatever is the case. That's how they chose to interpret it.
Whatever.
And we also have letters from the West.
Oh yeah. Somebody snuck that in on me. So I wrote another letters from the West, and if you've ever, excuse me, if you've followed any of my letters before, the idea is that my character Braxwolf is going through his adventures in LOTRO, but he keeps running into these specific things about the game mechanics or whatever else that come inherent with the video game. But being that he's living it, he doesn't realize what's going on, that it's a video game. And this specific one dealt with the impending rumors of the skill trees that are coming, that are going to sap all of his allies of all of their strength when they cross the Entwash and go into West Rohan. So, if you want,
A trick by Saruman.
yeah. So, and obviously the characters in the letter don't have any idea what's going on other than these whispers and rumors and the distinct lack of information that all other news carriers are bringing them. So, you want to take a look at that. Yeah, it's very satirical. I mean, I'll admit I use it as a kind of a way to make a point. So. That's something you can check out in our fan fiction section.
Yeah, I think it's a cool way of talking about game news in the form of RPing, I suppose is the way of putting it.
Yeah, I always enjoyed this article series, and so it's good to see you return to it, since it had been a little bit because of the Fellowship Walk and other stuff, I'm sure, since you had written one. So.
Yeah. And Brax, you also have your pick for the week?
Yes, I'm going to get it right this time. The Nimrodalian Tailspinner wrote another article or a fan fiction piece, and it's a prelude to his next series. I know I highlighted his finale from his last series, but I wanted to highlight the prelude from this one. It's called The Last Dance at Riverwatch, and it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic tale. He's setting up he's framing it up as his main character Merrick, the Guardian, telling a story of something that happened in the past. So I would jump on this train right away and go give it a read before he actually gets deep into this one, so that you'll be able to follow along as it goes.
All right, Merrick, nice original name.
That's what it
Wishful
is.
thinking. Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking, yes. Very well. Our sponsors. Ending, would you like to mention our sponsors?
I would, Pineleaf. This show is brought to you by Amazon.com. Use the widget on the side of the site, of any part of the site, and make a purchase to help support LOTRO players. And this show is also sponsored by Weta Workshop. Use the code WALK13 on checkout for 10% off your purchase. That's right, 10% off your purchase. And this code is now valid only until the end of the walk on October 24th. So be sure to act now with the code WALK13.
Very well. If you would like to make a donation to LOTRO players, though during the Fellowship Walk, we'll prefer if you donate to Child's Play instead. But if you must donate to LOTRO players, then you could hit the donate button in the upper right of the page. For $5, you could get a mention on the LOTRO Players podcast of your choice, while for $10 or more, you get a mention on all of the current podcasts, which includes LOTRO Players News, Fellowship of the Creeps, Through the Palantir, An Unexpected Vidcast, Lily Kate's Small LOTRO Creatures, and LOTRO Academy.
I don't think we should add any more because you might just run out of breath.
Anyone have any closing thoughts?
I didn't take it since I'm the one that added it. So you can contact us by emailing us at lotroplayers.mymiddleearth@gmail.com, and we would love for you guys to email us so that we can read your feedback on the show. We'd love to get some feedback. We feel like we've been going long enough that we have a good baseline so that we can start getting feedback in some of the other segments that aren't necessarily as news interesting, but definitely still interesting to hear your feedback. It's very valuable to us, and I'm sure listeners would love to hear your feedback as well. And you can also follow us on Twitter. We are fairly big on Twitter. At least we're getting there. And you can follow LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players. Original, I know. You can follow me, Andang, at PVMP_Andang. And you can follow Braxwolf at Braxwolf. Again, so original. You can follow Draculetta, who's not here tonight, probably because he's so busy on Twitter. And you can follow him at Draculetta with 2 T's, with an underscore and then a 72. So Draculetta_72. And you can follow Ethelros at Ethelros. And you can follow Pineleaf at Pineleaf. You need to create a Twitter. Everyone, players.mymiddleearth@gmail.com and tell us how much Pineleaf does or does not. Maybe you don't want Pineleaf to have a Twitter. So go ahead and write in and tell us.
People will be scared of the thought. Yeah.
Pineleaf needs to tweet. He needs to be a Twitterer.
Just create, Skirmisher of Middle Earth is open. It's probably not going to be now that I mentioned it on this podcast, but you can create an account there and, you can get some Twitter going there.
And I'm such a mystery, I didn't even make it onto a list.
That's right, Mist. What's your Twitter?
Well, I deleted it last night. So
that's why it wasn't on there, yeah.
Oh, when was the list done?
Oh, actually is a much better handle to use.
So I will be making a new Twitter account after I format my computer in 2 weeks' time, so I will tell you then.
All right, we'll be looking forward to it.
LOTRO Players goes live on every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time, which is U.S. Eastern Time. You can join us by going to lotroplayers.com/live. Be sure to join us in the chat, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who will be in there watching us and commenting on things. And join us for the Fellowship Walk, which is on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Actually, there's only one Saturday walk left because the final one is going to be on the 24th to celebrate when Frodo woke up at Rivendell. But we will have one on the 19th at 2 o'clock p.m. server time.
Yeah, but if we could get to $5,000 next Saturday, people, that would be excellent because I'll be working on the 24th and can't make it to the walk, and I really want to be in Rivendell. So, yeah. Okay.
Do it for Mist.
Do it for me.
That's right.
Yes. And that is all for tonight. So until next time, this is Pine Leaf Needles. And remember to skirmish responsibly.
Yo, Pine Leaf.
Have fun.
Hey, that can be your Twitter.
No, Brack's already got that one down. It's sorry, Pine Leaf.
Sorry, Pine. Good night.